a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, also known as Sheree Talaya. And today we're going to have another session on the incarceration industrial complex. Today we're going to follow the money. The $182 billion incarceration economy. This episode connects the financial incentives behind incarceration to real-world policies affecting families across America. The prison system in the United States is often discussed as a justice system, but it is also an economic system. Today and tonight, we are examining the financial structure behind incarceration, who profits, how money flows through prisons, and why policies often seem to prioritize expansion over rehabilitation. Using publicly available research and reporting, we look at commissary pricing, communication fees, contracts, private vendors, and the broader economic incentives tied to incarceration. This is not about politics. This is about transparency. Most people think prison exists for one simple reason: to separate dangerous individuals from society. But in the United States, incarceration is not just a justice system. It is also an economic system, a network of agencies, contractors, vendors, and services that together form what researchers often call the incarceration economy. According to the compiled public research, the United States spends approximately $182 billion every year connected to incarceration. That number is difficult to comprehend. So instead of just reacting to it, we are asking a more useful question. Just where does the money go? And let me show you a graphic I'd like you to see. Where the money goes, as I said, the majority of funding does not go toward rehabilitation. It does not go toward counseling, and it does not primarily go toward successful reentry into society. Instead, most of the money flows into, no surprise here, operations and administration, staffing and security, policing and court systems, medical contractors, communication companies, supply vendors. In other words, incarceration is not only a legal process, it is a financial structure. And once any financial structure becomes large enough, it begins to sustain itself. The secondary economy. Inside prisons, a secondary economy forms. Families send money. Phone calls are paid for. There's no calling without paying. Electronic messages carry fees. Even 1 to 2 sentence, 3 sentences maybe in a chat, you pay for that every time. Basic hygiene items must be purchased. And food, something most people assume is fully provided, becomes part of that economy as well. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Jeremy, in the chat. Thank you for listening. We're moving on to another section called Nutrition and Commissary. One of the least discussed parts of incarceration spending is food. No surprise here to me as a nutritionist, because even in hospitals, food was a lower priority than everything else. That's just a side comment. Okay. In many facilities, in prisons, the daily food budget per person is extremely small, often only a few dollars a day. Yet those meals must sustain adult men of different sizes, different ages, different health conditions, and different activity levels. The result is predictable. Meals rely heavily on starches and fillers, with limited protein and very little fresh food. Starches and fillers, as a nutritionist, I can tell you, do not stay with you. Hunger pangs will come around. This is where the commissary becomes very important. When standard meals do not meet hunger or nutritional needs, inmates must purchase additional food. Ramen noodles, tuna packets, peanut butter, and other little items using their own money or money sent by family members. Commissary, therefore, stops being a convenience and becomes a supplement. When access to commissary is restricted or prices increase, and they have, I can tell you that, the effect is not the removal of a luxury. The effect is reduced access to adequate nutrition. And nutrition affects far more than just someone's weight. It affects your immune system, your sleep, your mood stability, and impulse control. And I'm telling you, I can tell you about where they did studies on charter schools, and they changed the diet to a much more organic and palatable and healthy foods, and it made a tremendous difference in charter schools is where they send what they consider problem children, right? Well, the educational, they improved substantially. They didn't miss as much. They didn't fight as much. They were happier, healthier, and more into what they were there for in school. So that is really important. So if the system expects rehabilitation, behavior improvement, and mental stability, biological needs cannot be treated as an afterthought. This is not political, it is physiological. Oh, New York, I just saw your message. I am so sorry. So sorry. It must be very rough. I can't imagine. Anyway, moving right along. Incentives. When a system becomes financially large enough, incentives naturally form. More people in the system means more services are required. More services required means more contracts. More contracts mean more money flowing. And when revenue becomes connected to population size, difficult questions arise. Are policies always for justice? Or sometimes for maintaining the system itself? This does not mean every incarcerated person is innocent. We are not going there. It means any system handling millions of human beings and billions of dollars deserves examination. And I have been asking DOJ to audit DOC. It hasn't happened. Gee, I wonder why. Okay. Why this transparency matters. A justice system must do more than punish wrongdoing. And let's remember, the punishment itself is taking away your freedom. Anything added to that is really not right. But these systems, this so-called justice system, it must maintain public trust. And what does trust depend on? Transparency. Citizens should be able to ask questions about costs, outcomes, and incentives without those questions being treated as a tax. Because accountability strengthens institutions. It does not weaken them. This conversation is not about defending crime, and I hope you're very clear about that. It is not about blaming staff. Because I can tell you one thing, when they improve even the food and so on, the staff won't have as much work to do. But that's a whole nother area, and maybe I can find that research from those charter schools, and I'll bring that up another time. So this is more about understanding structure. And it's not about denying victims either. It is about understanding structure. If a society spends $182 billion each year connected to incarceration, and this could very well be a very conservative figure, then the public, and that's you and me, have the right to understand how that system works, whom it serves, and whether it achieves its stated goals. Healthy systems welcome examination. And truth does not fear questioning. So that is my episode for today, and we're going to continue to delve into this because there's a lot to this, much more than I even imagined. And yes, Tim, I realize our food is being poisoned. The water and the air. Now I think the air, according to Christian 21, the air is substances now that are supposed to be reversing some of the health problems that were attached to the heavy metals that we know, strontium, aluminum, and all those, the other ones that escape me at the moment, that's in the air. But yes, anything that's synthetic as a food, avoid it like the plague. And I'm sure that's what they fill a lot of these things with. And feel free to contact me at my email address, New York. I feel so bad you lost your son. I would be devastated. And I'm sure you have been as well. You were there for him every minute. And chances are he's in a much better place. No doubt about that. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. And I'm glad I'm back up and running. And I will be continuing this series and also a couple other shows in between. I've been doing a lot of reading and research in order to be able to do this and bring this to you. So, that being said, I will see you again soon, and I'm back on track. So thank you for listening, and much love to you all out there. Stay strong, speak up, stand for what you believe in.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show